Good afternoon and welcome to Breaking Fry Bread. I'm Dave. This is Ty. Good afternoon, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm living the dream, man. I'm living the dream, and I'm having a good time. And I know today's show we are going to discuss mental health. We're going to discuss our youth. We are going to discuss depression. We're going to have a tribal youth on the show today. Set the stage for us. Why is this important?
This is an important topic, and the guest we're going to have on the show today, I've witnessed his journey coming up as a young football player, and I experienced, his successes at a young age. And he recently just released an article that he wrote at school, and it received a lot of attention. Uh, it was posted in our tribal newspaper. It was posted in the school newsletter, and it caught my attention. And it talks about his journey through COVID, and I think that this is a discussion that went without a lot of attention during COVID. Was how did that isolation during COVID affect our youth and the mental health of our youth? Um, I know my kids struggled with it, even though we stayed active as much as we could, even though most of the country was shut down. We tried to stay active. We tried to stay involved in sports. Practices were all underground because you couldn't have practices in any establishments. So it was a struggle, and I remember, trying to do the homeschooling with the kids, and it was just rough, you know.
It was rough. It was you know what? It was a rough time, and I think that it's one of those things that you don't really see the impact of day to day, and it can really have a big impact on you. We've got Joseph here. Welcome, Joseph. Can you hear us?
We see you, Joseph. Can you see us?
Okay, yeah, I can hear and see you guys now.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Give us a brief intro, would you, Ty?
Yeah, this is Joseph Earl. He's 17 years of age, currently at Chief Fleshy High School in his junior year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Class of 2025. He was born and raised in Tacoma, Washington. He's a football star, basketball, and track. He's a WIAA LEAP committee member. He's a WIAA state scholar. He's the ASB president at Chief Fleshy. He enjoys playing Xbox, hanging with his buddies, mowing the lawn, watching UFC, and taking long night drives.
I didn't hear anything about the girls in there. No girls in the future, or
no
what?
girls yet?
Right now I just kind of want to stay focused. I mean, some friends, but right now I just trying to stay focused.
That's a good mission. I'll tell you this: women weaken legs, so therefore you stay focused, and all that comes in the right time. I'm glad that you're on the show. So, as Ty was mentioning before you hopped on, you wrote an article. It got some attention. It was in relation to your experience through COVID. Can you walk us through that? Can you share that journey with us?
Yeah. So my 8th grade year, it kind of just came as almost like a smack in the face. I was seeing on the news, watching it, but it didn't seem as realistic as it was once it kind of reached, my school. And then once I got put in my room, I kind of just learned that I should appreciate the outside world more because it made me feel whole. It gave me, when I come from an athletic person, outside is really where, you can clear your head or do work that you can't just do inside, but I got shut down. I had to stay in my room I was limited to a few things. I couldn't go see friends. And once I got out of it, it kind of just, I had a new trait where I just couldn't really communicate as well as I did before. And it made it hard because I felt like I was embarrassed every time I talked because I just didn't know how to. Because also my voice had got deeper through COVID. So people, that also had to get new with my new voice. But it was, it was really a challenge coming out because it offered new challenges. But the biggest thing was anxiety. So that's why I decided to write something that I could truly talk about for hours, because I think it's something that isn't talked about enough. People, there's articles saying about mental health through COVID, but it's just from a student standpoint, not just, researcher standpoint. So I wrote about something that I could really talk about.
And I think that what you feel here in the classroom, what you feel at school is something that is also being felt worldwide in the workplace. Not only are we seeing this in schools, but we're seeing this in the workplace. Some statistics from Gallup polls. Gallup said in 2023, only 33% of employees were engaged at work. They said $1.9 trillion was lost in productivity, and 67% of all employees were not engaged. And this continues into 2024 as employees feel detached from their employers. They have less clear expectation, lower levels of satisfaction, and less connection to the mission, and miss the purpose. And so we see that on the global scale with work, but as a student, you're seeing this same thing happen where, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were going to school, you were engaged, you were socializing, you were learning, talking, living life, having a good time. COVID happens, you get locked down, you're in your room, you're in your house, you're doing school at home, you're not connecting with your peers, your friends, with other students, you're not communicating with them as much, and you're kind of losing your communication touch. You're not communicating the same as you get out, and in that leads to some mental health, that leads to some depression. Did I articulate that right?
Yeah, for sure. And I the depression part really came because when I went to go get a checkup, my father thought, I was doing well out of COVID. But when they asked me a question about it, I had to answer it because that's truly what I was feeling. Like it wasn't, it was such a big shift for me. I just didn't know what I was going through. And, as a person that, I never thought I would experience that. I had to do some research for myself, and I was feeling some of those symptoms. But yeah, the no socializing part really got to me because, I guess I can kind of see myself as that group leader kid, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just felt like I lost myself within that time span, and it was a lot for me. So that was my biggest. And I feel like the biggest thing is just like what we're doing right now, through Teams. It was, for me, it's almost like PTSD. Like when I have to, get a meeting code, or when I know I have to sit down and talk to a computer, it really, I don't know. It's something
triggers you?
Yeah, it triggers me a little bit.
It triggers me too. I want you to know I hate doing the computer calls. We've been doing them for years now, but it's true, and I think that's a true thing.
It's a lot better being in studio for sure.
Yeah,
it is.
But it's been very interesting. I've been doing some research leading up to having you on the show and reading your article. COVID had a major impact, and I think as parents, as me as a parent, it was tough on us, right? So we're trying to figure out how to navigate life in COVID because there's a lot of uncertainty. There's questions about what's the future look like. So as parents, we're trying to make sure the household is okay and our futures and our financial stability is going to be fine. And, and we just kind of assume our kids they're fine because they're home, they're taken care of, they have food, and we kind of, the mental aspect of it kind of went under the rug, and you writing that article and bringing awareness to it has really helped, and it's going to really help other youth talk about their story. I just an interesting fact, it says here on CNN that during COVID, 1 in 5 youth with the median age of 13 were affected by COVID. And the biggest contributor to that was the social isolation, and that children are used to a predictable life, right? They're used to waking up 7 a.m., catching the bus, and talking with their friends on the way to school. They're used to getting out of school at 2:30, going to practice. That predictability of life was stripped from them, right? And the social aspect and all the other things. Thinking back on it, my kids may have been a little bit affected, but yeah, this has been awesome. Your story, the vulnerability it took to write the story, it's just been awesome.
Thank you.
So how did you how have you overcome the mental health issue, the depression, the resocialization, the getting back to communicating with your friends and so forth? What steps have you taken, or what best practices have you implemented to regain what you lost?
Well, my freshman year, I had went to a high school that I found out it wasn't truly for me, especially during coming out of that time. So then you kind of see in the article, I transferred to my tribal school, in which I reunited with my cousins, some of my old teachers, a lot of community members, and they helped me get out of my shell. But then I was kind of starting to get into it, but they kind of assured me that, this isn't going to last forever. We need you to be a leader. You are a leader. And I just, outside of school, I started meditating, actually. When I meditate, I try to call on for good energy and stuff that's meant to come to me, allowed to come to me, and like the stuff that's meant to, go away from me, let it just, go away from me in the way it's meant to be. And I feel like meditating helped me a lot through that time because, I just felt, after I felt like a rejuvenation, I just felt, again, this is going to be okay. And then I started doing research and then writing. I did a lot of writing, just what I'm feeling, what's happening, what's good happening in my life, what's bad happening in my life, what I can do to fix it, and stuff that I have researched, how can I implement it into what I'm feeling, and just talking to people. I had a lot of role models and mentors that I talked to, and they helped me reflect on what I'm feeling. But I guess they were kind of unexpected when I talked to them, because, again, I didn't expect myself to be that person going through those emotions. But yeah, I just talked to people, wrote, and meditated. Yeah, those are the biggest steps I took.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you wrote, you journaled, you meditated. I love that. I believe a morning routine is very important. I believe that's a fundamental driver of success. And in talking to some of the wealthiest people in the world, to some of the most successful people in the world, one of the things that I've learned is that it's all about how you start your day. It's all about how you live that life. And for me, in my own life, looking at how I live is very similar to where I'm up very early in the morning. And the first thing that I do is I focus on prayer. I'm a believer in the power of prayer. So I'm going to focus on prayer. I'm a Christian guy, so I'm going to believe in reading my Bible, getting focused, and then working out. Mental strength, very important. And then I'm a big believer in being grateful. And I'll tell you that even my kids today, when the first thing that they do when they get up, we all gather together and we talk for 10 minutes. And we'll put a timer on it because we want to make sure that we're really precise. But what are we grateful for 10 minutes every single day? And we'll all share and we'll go around. There'll be 40 or 50 things that we are grateful for, and that just that attitude of gratefulness, that attitude of positivity, that attitude really helps to change and focus where you are, and it allows you to be grateful. And one of the things that we've embraced is being grateful for the bad things, because being grateful for the bad things is one of the toughest things you can do. Like if you say, I broke my ankle last year, oh man, I'm grateful that I broke my ankle. What good can come out of breaking my ankle? What good can come out of those things? Because I can't control the outcome. I can't control the next pandemic. I can't control the next outbreak. I can't control the next financial crisis. I can't control so many things, but I can be grateful, and it shifts your mindset. And when we can shift our mindset, we elevate ourselves to the next level. And what in life is that no matter what we're going through, no matter how bad it is, no matter how bad it seems, the key is this too shall pass. And I love that, you're taking the time to write out how you feel. You're working through your feelings. You're working through, what's going on, in your mind, in your heart, and body. And I think that that's a fantastic thing. Ty, any thoughts?
No, just, I've witnessed your journey. I was your coach as a youth football for the tribe. I remember your early days as even 6 years old. Your dad had you at all the football camps, and we just knew you were going to be successful. And so witnessing your journey, I've witnessed your greatness. I witnessed your struggle coming out of COVID and middle school football. And I contributed that to just, everybody has a struggle. Everybody struggles at some point in their career or in sports. It's just a part of the game. I didn't even give light to that it could be from COVID, but I've seen you come through that, and I've seen your success. I've seen you reunite with your community at Chief Leschi. I've watched you find yourself again, and it's been very inspiring. So I guess what advice, after the journey you've been through, what advice would you give to younger ones that are coming up behind you, that may have went through the same struggles and just don't know how to vocalize it like you have done?
One piece is finding someone that you look up to. Whether it's a parent, a coach, a teacher,
mentors.
Mentors. And they'll just talk to them. It might not just be about what you're going through, but if you just talk to them, eventually that conversation will come around, and then you can truly open up. But yeah, again, like you said, everyone goes through struggles. So just knowing that, at some point you're going to struggle in your life. Don't let it tear you down. Don't let it, impact the next few months of your life. Just keep attacking it. You just have to keep attacking it. Keep faith that it's going to get better. And then find ways to make it better. For every person is different. So if you just, find your purpose into what you're trying to achieve and getting out of that current moment, it's going to help you. So yeah, just those three things will definitely help.
In this environment, being in school, the pandemic, the COVID, the drug abuse amongst teens, alcoholism among teens, the fentanyl crises, all of these things. When I was going to school, I remember, there's a couple different classes of kids, right? There's kids who are partying, drinking heavy, doing drugs. There's athletes focused on, where they're going to go, focused on, the sport, whatever they're playing, so on and so forth. As you see kids who were struggling with substance abuse, or you're around kids, how do you talk to them? How do you share the journey with them? How do you pass down good information and mentor those around you. I know you said, find someone older, find someone next to you, but we become a lot like our peers. And when you're faced with those situations, how do you conversate with your peers and, work to get them on the right path?
First off, yeah, peer pressure is a very big thing, and it's kind of scary. That's one of the things that I kind of faced once I went back to, I got to say, when I went back to tribal school. But I would say, it's going to take a little bit more to get through to, the core and really make them feel what you're saying. But I would say just give them examples about what might, even though you don't know what might come out of this, because I had, older people and my relatives that went through addiction. And, I don't want to try and give them advice about, this and that, but kind of just give them a sense of what could come out of that. But yeah, I've been faced with that, trying to been offered this or that. You just got to show them that people can say no. Like if you say no, it's going to be like, okay, he's really about it. He's a leader. He's not going to say yes. And I guess that's one of the things you can do. Just show them that, you are able to quit. You can live life without substances or alcohol. Just being that role model that if they can quit, they can live like this. They can have fun just without that. And but when you're trying to get through to them, it's a little bit harder.
It can be hard for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we struggle with that as adults too, watching our loved ones, fight addiction and battle addiction. It's, we pray so hard that they just, get away from it. And, we watch them fall back into it time and time again, and we just feel hopeless, and I can imagine watching some of your peers and some of your friends that you grew up with going through the same struggle, because that's the sad reality of what COVID did to this country. We lost a lot of youth back to the streets or back to drugs or, whatever it may be. And so your success story is one of, inspiration. And I'm hoping that your peers that may have fallen back into the streets or may have fallen into that lifestyle can see this and see, hey, it's not too late. My buddy Joey's out here doing good things. He's setting state records. He's excelling. He's open. I can reach out to him and talk to him, and hopefully this reaches at least one person. Because if we can at least help one person with your story, that's a success in my eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you've also got to live with that added pressure, because the pressure of being a leader, the pressure of setting the records, the pressure of, being the one that people look up to and say, hey, why don't you be more like Joey? That's its own pressure. That's its own level of, hey, what about me? What about what's going on with me, man? Like, I got my issues too, right? Like, I know that it looks all good on the outside, but I'm still dealing with, all of the things that make me a human. And I think that's the biggest thing, is we're all human, and we all have that we all have that feeling. We all have those feelings. And I think the more successful you are, the more pressure is on you, and the more apt to having depression or having issues is all around you, surrounds you. And I'll just share, like, I was in a meeting last week in Miami, and there was 450 CEOs there, and each one of those CEOs has a business that's worth 5 million or more, or is doing 5 million or more in revenue. And you look at all of those guys, all of those leaders of businesses, leaders of men, top performers. But do you know that about 70% of them deal with depression, deal with anxiety, deal with stress, deal with, failure, and these are the top performers. And so I think even as a top performer, we have to have our circle. We have to have our outlet. We have to have a group of people that we can connect with, that say, hey, this is what I'm going through today. Today I'm feeling depressed, or I'm not feeling good, or this happened in my life and it made me feel this way. And I think we've got to always have that outlay, and we've got to have that from people we trust. And one of the best places I think we can go for that is family. Like, I believe my dad, for me, is one of those people, right? Like, no matter what is going on in my life, I can call my dad. And as I was growing up and living life, even 30s, 40s, if I'm having a bad day, like, I'll call my dad and, Dad, this is what's going on. Dad, this is what's happening. I can't believe this. Maybe I'll cuss and yell and get upset, but I've got that person to talk to. And so we all need that person in our lives. And so my question would be to you is, with, top performers, hanging around top performers, I'm sure there's some other people in your school or other relationships that you have with guys, gals who perform at a high level. What do you do for that outlet? What do you do to release? What do you do to have those critical conversations today that help keep you relieved of the stress and the pressures that you're feeling as a top performer?
Playing club, there is a lot of top performers that I'm surrounded by. I'd say one of the ways is we have to provide, to aid each other's struggle. We have to share the struggle. We have to talk about it, and sometimes it takes a lot longer for people. People don't want to talk about it, may feel embarrassed. Like me, I was embarrassed to talk about it at first, but then I started embracing it because it's what it is. You can't control it. But I guess the way is just to get past the awkward conversation of them not really want to talk about, because although it isn't awkward, it's just sometimes trying to talk about it, they don't want to talk about it, can get awkward. But as teammates, if you want to be successful, be a successful person, you have to be past these things that may be holding a person back and maybe holding the whole team back from one person. So just getting past that barrier, getting to get them to talk about it, and eventually just become cool with it. You're gonna have to live with it. And with me, once I got past it and I started enjoying the sports and become successful in sports again, I was able to just kind of put it behind me, but not forget it though, because it's truly an experience that I won't forget.
Sports are awesome. Ty, any thoughts?
Talking about sports, and your ability to acknowledge the struggle, right? That's part of, that's part of our everyday life. Just like Dave mentioned, the top performers, 70% of the top performers deal with depression and mental health issues. There's a lot of pressure on them to stay at the top or stay successful. You see it in movie stars, you see it in musicians. There's a heavy presence of drugs and alcohol in that industry because there's a lot of pressure, to stay relevant, stay on top, come out with the next top 100 hit or top 10 hit. So you're a big ability to acknowledge the struggle you're going through is like the first step, right? If we can't acknowledge what is happening to us, how can we work through it? And so your ability to acknowledge and embrace, as you said, the struggles of COVID and the mental health, that took strength, right? And that's commendable to have that at a young age, and I'm glad my kids look up to you for that. How much of that, and you see it in sports, right? You're struggling, you may be down, you have to rise to the occasion. You may be down by 2 touchdowns going into halftime, but we don't quit, right? We acknowledge, hey, we make adjustments. Hey, here's where they're kicking our butt. Here's our weakness over here, and we address it. Right? We come out in the second half and we put points on the board. We play defense and we win. How much would you attribute your career and your life being in sports to being able to work through these issues?
Well, I gotta start by saying I honestly wouldn't be here without God, and also without my father. I feel like those two, especially my father, he really pushed me from a young age to never quit. That's one of the things he always tells me: never quit. So I started applying that to everything, not just in sports, but through life. You're gonna want to quit, but that's once you get past that wanting to quit barrier, it's like it's the flow state for me. It's like you're gonna start doing this effortless. Once you get past that, that's the biggest thing. Don't quit. Yeah. Also, my faith. I just feel that if I kept faith in God, everything happens for a reason. So the struggle that you're going through, the adversity, it's there for a reason. It's gonna make you stronger for a new moment. And yeah, the adversity part. It's there. Adversity is always there for a reason. I would say that it's gonna make you stronger. It's gonna build you up. It's gonna build your character. Yeah, faith and my dad.
You know what I love about hard things,
So,
tough times, is that tough times draw us closer to God. If there was no tough times, there would be no need for God. But when we have those tough times, we rely on God. We rely on our parents. We rely on Father. Like, I think that's awesome, because the tough times also keep you humble. But I also remember tough times don't last, tough people do. And I also love men do hard things. Men do hard things. Like I think that's something that's important. We work hard. We drive hard. We excel. We lead our family. I love that. We are in charge of our family. Do you think about the future much? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What's a goal or aspiration for the future?
Definitely to be in college. By that time, I want to be at a pretty big either academic school or athletic school. But I just want to live that college life. Be a college student and kind of, I'll say, separate myself from where I'm at this, my hometown. Truly find myself, not just for where I'm within my community, but what I can do with people I don't know. Can I be that same leader? Can I still be that role model through a group of people that I don't know? And also, I want to go to law school after I get out of college. I'm becoming an attorney. Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. Can I still make that impact on people that I don't know? Can I still be that role model? Yeah, definitely a college student.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've been, paying attention to your story, and I see that you've already made a college visit. You participated in a camp over there at Wazoo in Pullman. Could you tell us a little bit about that? How'd that go?
Yeah, so when I went to Pullman, it was for junior days. Almost all juniors, I believe. We checked in. We went toward the weight room, athletic room. Like they have these pools, like 3 different pools for recovery. And they have this whole side of just like campus just dedicated to football. Like they have the football training room. We checked out the meeting room. We had to sit in there, eat lunch. We went to the QB room, the quarterbacks where they, the QB meetings. We went to, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called the Cub. But it's like this cool overview of the football field. Also just just the grass fields that go for miles and miles. And also I took my first long driving trip with my parents. So that was a cool experience, a part of the experience. I got to spend time with my parents, also learn how to drive. long miles. Yeah, the overall experience was great. It was, honestly, I would love to play football there, but just the geological aspect of it, it's surrounded by a lot of wheat fields, so it's just, you know,
I feel
yeah.
you.
There's not a lot of big city going on in there.
No, there'll be a lot of peer pressure there. I know that. I know that college is party town in USA. So.
Gives you an opportunity to stand strong.
Absolutely. Can I close with one final question? What does it mean to you to be a Native American?
To me, it means everything. Going back towards addiction, that struggle. Being here is like the honor. Like, our ancestors fought to get us here, and we survived genocide, attempt on genocide. And being here is like the reason to live. You can't live life without acknowledging that you're Native American. We live through attempts to kill off our people, even through addiction again. And when you don't fall into the peer pressure, it's just, you're acknowledging the ancestors and the work they've done, to not let us fall back into that. So embracing it, acknowledging it, that, I am Native American. I need to practice my ways, my ancestral ways. Yeah, it means everything to me.
And you come from a strong family history of activists, and you have some strong ancestors in your blood, and I feel the same way, just your grandfather, my grandfather, we're just a couple generations removed from our grandfathers who fought for what we have right now. If they didn't stand strong and fight the state and fight the government, we could possibly not be here. Our treaties wouldn't be honored, and these casinos that we have and our natural resources, they could have just went by the wayside, and so I make sure to be thankful for that every day as well. And that's good that you're acknowledging that also.
Yeah, that's awesome. Are you on social media at all?
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram,
TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah, Facebook. Yeah, some TikTok. Yeah.
You can't go without the TikTok on there. All right, listen, we're bringing this thing in for a landing. Follow Joey on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Same for myself, Ty, Dave, Wescott. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, anywhere where it's social. We're hanging out. This is Breaking Fry Bread. Any final thoughts, guys, as we bring this in for a close?
I think I'm good.
Yep, let's bring it in for a landing.
All right. If you like the show, give us a like, give us a share. Back same time, Wednesday afternoon. Check us out. Give us a like, give us a share. Thank you very much for joining in. This was a fabulous show. We had a great time. We look forward to seeing you next week.
Boy.